Hey everyone, Gill Gross here, and it is time for a preview of the 2021 Indian Wells men's final between, just like everyone predicted, Nikoloz Basilashvili and Cameron Norrie. Yeah, it's been a weird tournament. I mean, my prediction of Tsitsipas versus Ruud in the final, I don't think I've ever whiffed on all four semifinalists since doing the show, but for the first time in the history of Masters 1000s tournaments, there was no top 25 seeds in the semifinals. So it was strange. Some things happened. Medvedev had a collapse. Zverev had a collapse. Tsitsipas didn't look good all week long, and I believe he was ill. In fact, I know he was ill. I'm not, you can't say for sure. That's why he lost, but just never looked right all week. Casper Ruud, I thought, had a great chance to do well here. He had an arm injury that he was clearly dealing with in his loss. That's what time of year it is. With that being said, come on. Cam Norrie has been one of the best players throughout 2021. He's got 50 wins and 20 losses on the year. His consistency has been sensational, and he's done it on every single surface. Last week, he made the final in San Diego. He beat Andrei Rublev. He beat Denis Shapovalov. He made the final at Queen's Club. He won Los Cabos, beat Fritz and Nakashima there. It wasn't the best run. He pushed Berrettini to 3 sets at Queen's. Everyone else was getting murdered by Berrettini at that tournament. Lyon, he made the final, lost to Stefanos Tsitsipas. I mean, this man, Estoril, he made the final, beat Cilic, beat Garin there. The dude has been so good all season long. So is this surprising? Yeah. Is this out of absolutely nowhere? Not really. Cam Norrie has been unbelievable in 2021. Hasn't, in the majors, he's had tough luck. He lost to Nadal in Australia. He lost to Nadal at Roland Garros. He lost to Federer at Wimbledon. And he lost to Alcaraz at the U.S. Open in a loss that seemed very disappointing at the time, but aged pretty well. Nikoloz Basilashvili, another man who, look, did we expect him in the final? No, but he has 2 titles in 2021 alone. He has 5 titles in his career. And is he consistent week to week? No, not at all. But he's a guy who everyone knows any given week he could be near unplayable. And this was just one of those weeks. And when the surface is slow, he becomes even more dangerous. And the Indian Wells playing conditions are definitely slow, giving Basilashvili plenty of time to load up his power. So, look, this is going to be a great contrast of styles. Basilashvili is the biggest hitter on tour, highest average backhand speeds by far, forehand speeds on par with Matteo Berrettini and Dominic Thiem. The reason why he is not world number 1 with the 2 biggest ground strokes in the game is because he makes a lot of unforced errors, he doesn't move all that well, and he doesn't serve very big. Cam Norrie is the very opposite of Basilashvili. He makes very few unforced errors, makes his opponents earn everything. He is a high tennis IQ guy who will find patterns that work and will go to them over and over again. He is as fit as anyone on tour. This has been a feat of physicality and fitness, what he's done. Now, he's had 2 quick matches in a row, but beat Sandgren in 3 sets, beat RBA in 3 sets, beat Tommy Paul in 3 sets. All of this after making the final in San Diego. Last 2 matches have been nice and cushy. 6-love, 6-2 over Schwartzman, 6-2, 6-4 over Dimitrov. Point being, Cam Norrie will almost never get tired. He is willing to do as much running as it takes. He is not going to bail out of a rally. And you know what? His weapons, yeah, they're not huge, but they're not nothing. Cam Norrie can get some free points with his first serve. Cam Norrie can take a a sitting forehand from behind the baseline if it's a weak incoming ball, and he can do plenty of damage with it. He can redirect his backhands in ways that create offense when there's an opening. He's very solid. His backhand is hit with great depth. His forehand gets great angles. So there is a lot to Cam Norrie's game. There is a lot to like. And tennis is often a game of errors, and Norrie often wins that game. So let's get to some of the keys to the match. I think there could be a couple of tactics that play out in this match, but ultimately, I don't think it's going to be a very tactical match. I think Norrie is going to dig his heels in. He is going to try to get it to the Basilashvili forehand as much as possible. And that takes me to one of my tactical keys, which is I think Norrie on his forehand needs to try to avoid going cross court, because Norrie's forehand is a little bit loopy. The backhand is straight like a laser. The forehand is more like a grenade. And I think, generally speaking, Norrie's opponents have more time off of his forehand than they do on his backhand, unless Norrie really has time to take a rip on the forehand. That's a different story. But I really think Norrie should try to avoid going cross court with his forehand, because that ball takes too long to get to the other side. Basilashvili has lots of time, and his footwork moving out to his left is much better than his footwork if you hit it middle. If you go right at Basilashvili, first of all, he has less angle to work with, but that is where he's going to make more errors. You force him to make more decisions, and that's where his footwork is going to be off. Plus, you have a better chance of getting it to his forehand, which Basilashvili misses far more often than his backhand. But Norrie is going to dig his heels in, try to get it to Basilashvili's forehand as much as possible. Try to move Nikoloz around. There's no doubt about that. I mean, he will try to dictate off his serve, but probably not so much off the return. And really should be comfortable grinding, defending, and waiting for those errors. Look, I believe Norrie had 5 winners in the entire match against Grigor Dimitrov. He does not need to hit winners to win. He will outlast. He will not be the first to miss. And Basilashvili will happily be the first to either miss or hit a shot that's too good that Norrie cannot defend, cannot return. So here's my assessment of this match overall. I don't think anyone has really forced Basilashvili on this slow court, which allows for a fair amount of defense to be played and a fair amount of balls to be retrieved. I don't think anyone has actually successfully forced Basilashvili to earn everything. In fact, the 2 times he's gone 3 sets were against the 2 most talented defensive players that he's faced in the draw. One of them was Albert Ramos Vinolas. Basilashvili dropped the first set to Ramos Vinolas, and the second set went to a tiebreak before he took control and won the third set 6-2. Cam Norrie is just a way better version of Albert Ramos Vinolas. I thought if Stefanos Tsitsipas played a decent match, Basilashvili was there for the taking, but Tsitsipas made too many errors. Fritz, I think, is a better matchup for Basilashvili because Fritz is not going to be able to implement that make every ball game plan. He's going to, first of all, Fritz was a little bit passive, but then made some mistakes that Cam Norrie, quite frankly, is not going to make. And I just don't think Basilashvili has the consistency in him on most days to beat someone who's going to be as good at making the balls back in play as Cam Norrie. And someone as intelligent as Cam Norrie, who I think is going to work the ball around the court in ways that are going to affect Basilashvili negatively, to play a lot up the middle, to try to find his forehand a ton and as much as he can. And by the way, I think that cross-court backhand is going to be difficult for Basilashvili to tee off on. It's going to stay low, and it's not going to sit up for Basilashvili's big swings. And I'm very curious to see what that looks like and if Basilashvili can really tee off on that. Norrie's backhand in general is a tremendously good pace-absorbing shot. And playing Basilashvili is all about pace absorption. That backhand, the backswing is so short, so simple. I know it's kind of an ugly stroke technically that a lot of people might crap on, but man, Norrie is so good at absorbing pace on the backhand side, and he is going to soak up Basilashvili's power, in my opinion. The forehand, I'm a little bit more concerned about. Let's see what happens on that side. And again, I think he needs to try to loop the ball middle and really try to avoid falling into that cross-court pattern on the ad side, or one that I think he can really get burned in. I think Norrie's the better server as well. And if it comes down to that, I do think Cam can get a little bit more off of his serve. Now, if Basilashvili plays the way he did against Fritz, if he plays that clean, he is the player who can come up with a lot more magic. You know, he's got a lot more shot making in the bag. So could Cam Norrie just be too rhythmic? Could he make Basilashvili too comfortable? Here's the reality. I haven't seen anyone really consistently make Basilashvili play defense all week. What I've seen is players who are not playing good enough defense against Basilashvili's offense. I haven't seen anyone make Basilashvili play defense. Certainly Cam Norrie is not going to do that. Certainly Basilashvili is going to be able to take his cuts, and he's going to be the one trying to make things happen for the most part in the baseline rallies and trying to finish these points. And I think he's going to make too many errors. By the way, they've played once this year. It was in Rotterdam, and Norrie won 6-love, 6-3. I'm not, does that matter? Yeah. Does that raise an eyebrow? Yeah. Is that the end-all, be-all? Is that why I'm making this prediction? No, I was going to make this prediction before I saw that head-to-head. But, yeah, it's a very simple match, and the reality is I do think Norrie's consistency is going to be too much for Basilashvili. I don't think that Nikoloz is going to be able to play with enough discipline to win this match. Now, I'm not discounting him either, obviously, but I do confidently pick Norrie. Nerves could be a factor. Both of them have, been in finals, but this is the biggest match of both of their careers. Norrie just lost a final very badly in San Diego to Casper Ruud, but he's won final. He's been fine in finals. He played well in that Queens final. He won Los Cabos, so he doesn't come in here without a title. I think both of them should handle the nerves decently well. Basilashvili handles nerves well generally because he only has one plan. Did he get tight against Tsitsipas? I think so, a little bit. But Norrie also handles nerves well because he's very sure of the way he wants to play, and there's a lot of safety in his game. So I can't pick the match based on who's going to handle the moment better, because I think they'll both handle the moment decently well. So my pick is Cam Norrie in 2. Hopefully we get a good final. I don't know, in reality, am I going to sugarcoat it? Is this preview video going to get way less views because of how this tournament has panned out? Yes, it will. But, and has the crowd at Indian Wells kind of diminished the tournament a little bit? The fact that, the crowds have not been good? Yes, it has. But am I really interested to see what happens here between the most offensive player in tennis, a dude who's had a great run, and Cam Norrie going for the biggest title of his career in his breakout season, with the really just incredible stylistic contrast? Yeah, I'm pretty psyched to see it. Hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you next time.